to be alive. So can we give Pastor Dan a big round of applause?
That was not it. Microphone adjustment. The song was done in the 90s by a group called Dakota Road. It's an Easter hymn. It goes like this. To be alive is to live the love that is alive in God's saving Son who brought us back from where? From the life of death. To be alive. There is nothing I can do to save me, only God gives us hope. Mercy, love, mercy, hope, and freedom, calling one another to be whole, to be alive. The love that is alive in God's saving Son who brought us back. To be alive. Join in singing, join the celebration. Jesus lives, we will be born. We can forgive, be with each other, so we come to be whole. Join me to be alive. It's to bring the love that is alive in God's saving Son who brought us back from the life of death. To be alive, one more time. To be alive, to bring the love that is alive in God's saving Son who brought us back from the life of death. To be alive, we are alive. To be alive, live for Him. To be alive.
Pastor Dan, that was a great way to kick us off. Just a few more announcements before we bring out our next act. So the silent auction, as most of you have probably seen, is through those doors. We're going to keep them relatively shut throughout the first act and the second act, but during intermission, or if you want to go check on your bids to make sure you're still the top bidder, please do. Let's get a little bit of competition going, right? Feel the heat. We want to get the bids or get the baskets we want. And also, we have a ton of desserts. So if you need to get up during the performance at all to get more wine, dessert, or beverages, please feel free to do so. But our next act is we are going to have a dance performance to Purple Rain by Hannah and Avery. Let's give them a round of applause. romance prince? Yeah? Awesome. So our next performance is another youth performance for those that were able to see our musical this winter. It is a reprise of one of our most beloved songs. So if you can all welcome to the stage our Diamond Lake Pop Singers singing She Called My Name. So, I have a question for the crowd. Who here celebrates St. Patty's Day? Who doesn't just celebrate but considers it a sport? I think that's the real question. Well, we have a real treat for you all tonight. We have an authentic Irish dance done by our very own Rachel Craig, so we can get a little bit of taste of St. Patty's Day beforehand. Give her a round of applause. watching that. That was incredible. Well, now we have another little bit from a reprise from our spring musical, That God Show. And we have our very own Larry Fitzgibbons in the house to do a live podcast for us here at Diamond Lake. I mean, what a treat. So, as Larry Fitzgibbons himself, we have Braden Royce.
Testing. Is there internet? Oh, yeah, here we go. All right. Are you ready? Yeah. You need a chair or anything? No, you're good? Okay. Well, welcome to God on the Couch. I'm Larry Fitzgibbons, along with the Almighty God. And you know my story. I found God in a 24-hour gas station about 3 o'clock in the morning. I was working, and he was sitting there right on that stack of oil cans. And we got to talking, and we're talking, and it's a pretty good conversation. And so I say, you've got any interest in doing a podcast with me? And God says, what you got in mind? And I said something like, would a Thursday work? And God said, that's usually a light day for me, so yes. Let's go ahead and do it Thursday. Thursdays are good, so here we are. And anyway, as you know, you send your letters each week, and we get God's take on wisdom. Okay, yes, thank you. Wisdom of God. So, you ready to get at it? Oh, stop it. You know very well we've been having a lot of weather in this area lately. You looked ahead. You saw what today's topic was, didn't you? Well, of course you knew anyway, so. All right, so today's topic is climate change. Now, that's a tough one. That's a very tough one, buddy, and I'm not sure if you've got all the answers for it, but I certainly hope so. But no, I never doubted you. I don't do that anymore. You've proven me wrong too many times, so we'll leave it like that. But now listen, you've been around since when? Year zero or before? Before that? Oh, wow. So you were certainly around when the dinosaurs were around, yeah? And there was an ice age. Weren't there a couple of ice ages somewhere along the line? I mean, 120,000 years ago, something like that. Or I mean, there weren't any people then, so you didn't have a lot to do. Yeah, I know dinosaurs take a lot of trouble, but they're not like people, though. They're not as troublesome as really. T-Rex did that, huh? Okay. Well, anyway, so there was this ice age, and then it warmed up, and in the Bible times, it was really hot. Because I read the Bible, I know what's going on in the Bible. They're always talking about how thirsty they are. I can't. Oh, please give me some water. You saw Ben-Hur, didn't you? No, the Charlton Heston version. They're thirsty. It's hot. So they went from cold to hot, and they seemed the earth seemed to survive. So why is it so different now? Oh. So it's our fault. Well, that's an interesting take. Okay, so yeah, but overpopulation, you create people, so maybe throttle it back a little bit. Yes, of course. I mean, you pour tons of toxic smoke into the air for 4 centuries. That's bound to have an effect. I'm not denying any of that. I think that's a lot of that is true. So, but here's my deal. You remember 74, don't you? 1974, energy crisis. You, of course. Who am I talking to here? Everyone was in a panic. And there was all this stuff going on, and you had lines for gas, and you had people who were just full of anxiety, and the prices went up like a gajillion% in 2 months. And everybody was freaking out, and they were doing everything they could to save energy. And we got out of that Well, we got earth-sheltered houses, and the Pinto, and well, yeah, those were mistakes. That's definitely mistakes, and I guess that's my point. Can you please do something to save us from our own mistakes? Can you just tell us what to do? Oh, God. That's your answer to everything. Free will. I mean, I love free will, and yeah, it's important. I don't deny that. We need free will, but sometimes I would just like you to say, hey, do it this way. Do this. Don't do that. Would that kill you? I don't think it would. So, oh, you are. Well, you heard it here first, folks. God says God is on the case. They're working on it. Well, you got something in your back pocket, a deal figured out, something going on, but oh, of course, you can't tell me. See, this is the great thing about God. You know, God knows the future, knows the plans and all that, but He won't say a thing about it to us. And would it kill you some week to just say take the Packers in 6 points or bet the underdog? I mean, that's all. I just want a little bit of help. So what's it going to take to move the needle on this climate change? Because I got to tell you, one week I hear that we're doomed. It's a lost cause. The next week I hear plant a tree, change your light bulbs, and we might be able to get out of it. So, what's your answer? Where are we going with this? What's happening? Oh, so you do an act of God. Well, I guess that would pretty much sell it, wouldn't it? If you had an act of God, and now would that be like? Shall we call it a miracle? Yeah, so like somebody invents some gizmo 20 years from now, and that settles the whole deal, and we don't even know about it yet. Is that possible? Yeah, we got a cell phone. Right. Yeah, I do remember. I was a late adapter, but I do remember the time when we didn't have cell phones, and it was like, how did we live? I mean, oh, I see what you mean. So you're saying that something's going to happen. You're not saying that. You're not predicting anything. You're just saying that is possible. Well. All right. Anything else? Yeah, I think that's probably good for today too. If we solve that, we can maybe work on something a little tougher next time. How to get Lutherans to smile. But anyway, so thank you, God. As I always say, you're an awesome God. We really thank you. And I get it. No predictions. We're not making any predictions. And please do not call us for any information on horse racing or NFL games, because God is not authorized to give out that kind of information. So, listen, buddy, we will see you next week, next Thursday. Okay, good. Have a good week. And take care, okay? Take care of the world. That's what we really need right now, okay? Thanks, folks. God on the couch. I'm Larry Fitzgibbons.
Wow, we didn't even just get Larry Fitzgibbons, we got God in the house. How crazy is that? And next up, we have a bit of a change of scenery. We are going to have another musical act, and we have Ben Craig singing and playing Knocking on Heaven's Door. Why don't you give him a round of applause?
These are all tough acts to follow.
John, it's a tough crowd. In keeping with the Minnesota artist, how about that Purple Rain dance, huh? I love that. Right? In keeping with that Minnesota theme, I'm going to do something by Voice of a Generation, Mr. Bob Dylan.
I have a business card from every single staff person in this church. I'll start in the kitchen. We have this splendid cook. Her name is Audrey. Now, I work with Audrey. She's a designer in kitchens, baths, interiors. Very, very talented woman. She also comes from the church. And it gives her a lot of power. I mean, if you think about it, she's like a god. with her bowel. She could make you happy or she could make you miserable. And I worked with her in the kitchen, and Audrey makes sure that he knows who's in charge. And she was cutting up some chicken one day, and I said, doing like a manly thing, "Let me cut the chicken up, lady." She didn't appreciate it. And I walked over there, and she gave me a look that shook me to my core. And then she grabbed my wrist, and she slammed it down on the cutting board. And she took the knife, and she was going like this in between my fingers. And she never hit any skin whatsoever. And then she said, through her gritted teeth, she said, "This is my kitchen. I'm in charge of my kitchen. And don't condescend to me, or else." I'm like, okay. She scared me. And I would advise you people to be nice to her too. Because you know what, if you're not, you're going to have tuna sandwiches that have been in the back of her car for 3 days. And, I once said, jokingly, of course, "Audrey, yeah, you got a lot of power. You can just poison everybody." And she gave me that same look. And she said, "Or one." That's a miracle. Getting to our tech guy, John Nelson, as you learned already, he's kind of like an electronic overlord. And, he's kind of godlike somewhat in his abilities, because John can look at what you're doing all the time, because he's a computer expert. And he can monitor you. And he has his own business. And hackers are us. And I've seen him on the phone, and he's like talking in Russian. And then I see him the next day, and then it's like speaking Bulgarian. I mean, it's scary. And, go in there and look and see what you're doing and stuff. And that's unnerving, but not only that, he runs the lights. And he can make you look really good. I mean, like Brad Pitt right now.
Or you can do it like Never look better.
Or he can make you look like Shrek. Or his sidekick. That's kind of awesome. Which brings me to Lacey, our new youth director. Gosh, I'm never going to forget that interview. And Mary Turman and I are sitting there talking with her. And we're just kind of thinking how young she is. And she says, I said, "Where'd you come from?" She said, "Anoka." I said, "That's a long way to drive." She goes, "I didn't drive." "Oh, you take the train." "I didn't take the train." "Well, how'd you get down here?" She goes, "My mom drove me." Okay. And I said, "Well, if you get the job, it's going to be a long drive for you." And she goes, "I can't drive." I said, "Oh, really? You would have thought you would have learned that at the driver's ed." And she said, "I don't have a license because I'm not old enough." Oh, okay. Of course, when you get to be my age, everybody under 40 looks really young. But she says, I said, "Tell me about your high school activities." "Well, me and my sisters, we like to, do the usual stuff. We like to shoplift. We knocked over a few gas stations and a liquor store. It's in here tonight, These two girls are looking at their mom. He knows about us." But anyway, so Mary and I said, "So, how do you like working with kids?" "I hate kids." "Young ones?" "All of them." "Really, you're a kid?" "I make exceptions. And I barely like my sister, so okay." Good thing I met them tonight, otherwise I would be poking fun at them. So I said, what are your plans for Christian Ed? And she said, VeggieTales videos. Okay, that sounds good for kindergarten. What about third grade? VeggieTales. Junior high, VeggieTales. High school, VeggieTales.
Larry the cucumber's always funny.
Thanks for the backup. So anyway, I kind of turned to Mary and I said, Mary, I don't think this is the one. And she said, it is the one. I said, do you feel it? Is God speaking to you? She said, no, we don't have any other candidates. I said, what about Billy? The guy we interviewed on Zoom. And she said, the state did not parole him. He didn't get it. So, we're just hoping she grows into the job. That takes us to John Pedersen. Oh gosh, John. He's kind of like the soul of our church. He's a gentleman, really, really nice guy. Too nice. He organized a food packing evening one time, and I saw him a week later, and I said, John, how'd the food packing go? He said, it went great. He said, our goal was to make 6,000 meals. I said, great. How many people did you have? And he said, 2. I said, oh, wow. He said, well, at least you guys got it done. How long did it take you? And he goes, 2 days. I said, continuous? He goes, yeah. And he just acted pleasant the whole time. And I said, who went with you? And he goes, my 3-year-old daughter. I said, John, how did you handle that? She goes, well, she mostly slept in a box under a table. And I said, okay. And he goes, but it was nice because it was all you could eat. And he was such a good guy. And one time he's in traffic and he pulls up to this car and this guy comes out and he pulls the driver out and jumps in, car taxi. But the car doesn't go anywhere and the owner goes running away. So John goes, oh, I think we should help him. And he goes up there and he says, what's wrong? And he said, the car won't start. And he says, well, it's a push button thing. And he said, I'm pushing the button. Well, the owner must have the key fob in his pocket and he took off. And the guy wasn't happy. So John goes, here, take my car. And he left his keys. And he drives off. And John's sitting there going, well, God spoke to me, told me to don't use my car. And then he thought, I should have taken my daughter out of the back seat. By the way, 3 days later, they did bring her and the car back. Although, she's kind of famous for a while. They saw her on TV. This guy was carrying her into a gas station when he was robbing it. And, hey, there's yours.
She would have been the one robbing you.
Our kids rob us their whole lives. They just keep taking and taking. But that brings me to the heart of our church, and that's Kathy. She's our church secretary. And I kind of think her as the eye of Sauron. All-knowing and all-seeing. She knows everything. The property committee's in her office. And you say, well, Kathy, you don't have any heat. And she goes, I know that. You know, there's no heat good for the rain. And I don't want to mention any names, but Bob Gus is me. And Kathy, in her infinite wisdom, just goes, look, you need to bleed the radiator, and then you need to go down in the boiler room, turn up the compressor. It runs at 15 pounds and it's probably around 12 pounds. Okay. It's amazing. She's that amazing. And then he comes back up. The light's blinking. You got any ideas? And she said, well, yeah. She said, you got a LED light that runs on 60,000 hertz. You got a switch that runs on 30,000 hertz. They're not compatible. Okay. So we changed it. But that's just a little bit of what she does. She operates the copy machine from hell. You go in there, and this thing has more buttons than Carter has pills. I mean, it's just like, and every time I go in there and I go, Ken. And she always just does it. She just does it. And then she suffers fools with grace and dignity. I mean, she married Kirk. And, you know, God bless her and everything she does. And she's standing there and telling Kirk this and that, and he's looking out the window, and Kirk, what did I just say? Squirrel. So, that woman deserves a special place in everybody's heart in this church for what she does. Now, that brings me to Kevin. Hi, Kevin. Kevin and I go way back, and we had a special bonding moment early because when Kevin arrived, he played the piano exclusively for the youth, and Paul Botts, sitting right there, was the director. And Paul Botts, and I'm not going to say anything about Paul Napoleon Botts, he runs a tight ship, and he comes up to me on this February morning. It was a special music morning, and I think it might have been the morning that they sang for the play. And I mean, that's our big, get it out there thing. And he said, last night's snow, 35 is a mess. Kevin can't get his car even out of the parking lot. Did you drive your 4-wheel truck? And I said, yeah. And this is an F-350. I mean, when I back out of the driveway, the front end is on Monday and the back end on Tuesday. It's huge. And she says, I need you to go get Kevin and get him back, and you got 40 minutes. I said, where's he live? He goes, like, northeast Minneapolis, almost to Roseville. I said, fine. So I drive like a bat out of heaven. And I pick him up. And his mother was visiting from California. And Paul said his mom was in town, and I thought she was coming. And he goes, she doesn't want to go out. She's not used to this weather. I said, fine. So then we get in the truck, and it took me longer to get up there than I thought. So I'm driving back, and I'm driving really fast for the conditions. But I have an F-350. And it's got 4-wheel drive. So even the ditch is an option. So anyway, we get back to church, and it was a harrowing ride because there was drifts all over, and there was cars that had been sitting there all night. And I hit these drifts, and the truck would rise, and here's what I do. You could tell that he wasn't enjoying himself. I personally thought it was great. And we get here in time, and I kind of turned to him and I said, Kevin, I'm sorry your mom couldn't make it. And he just says, it would have killed her. It would have killed her. But, there's a side of Kevin, though, you'd be surprised to learn about. And that is, don't touch the grand piano. So, it used to sit over here, and I'm going to. Bob? What? Now, some of you older people might remember this. It was from Planet of the Apes. The first time he spoke, his voice was messed up, and then the apes, grabbed him and pulled him out of his cage. And he says this very distinct line, and it came from Kevin's mouth. Get your darn dirty hands off my grand piano. I soiled my armor, But anyway, that's our Kevin, and he's so talented. And you know what? He's married to a woman named Grace, and it's the perfect name for her. She carries herself with grace. And she also plays the piano beautifully. Anybody who's been to church has heard her. And you know what? Sometimes we refer, a lot of women refer to men refer to their wives as their better halves. Well, since they both play the piano, is she really your better half? No competition there. You're probably going to fight in the car on the way home.
She is. I don't want to sleep on the couch.
Okay, these aren't plans. I did not plan these. That brings me to Chuck Lindenkamp. Chuck and I also go back a long ways. Very good. No. I'll do Chuck.
I've been here at least for 30 years.
So anyway, so Chuck, he was 1 year old, his first birthday, and his parents told all their friends and family that he liked musical instruments, so he got 170 of them on his first birthday. And by the time he was 9, he'd learned to play every one of them. And if you know Chuck, he can do them all. But here's the funny thing about Chuck. He's got no sense of humor. None. So, because for 32 years I've been trying to make him laugh and he doesn't laugh because I make little jokes about the people that play in his bell choir.
Chuck, how's your dinglings?
He doesn't appreciate that.
How's the ding dongs?
Like that. It just, one day I said, Chuck, I got a great joke about bells. What rings and smells? He goes, what? I said, dung. Get it? Dung. He didn't like it. So one day, though, I was serious, and I said, Chuck, I'd like to join bell choir. He says, no, because I don't need a dumbbell. Right? Can I do Bruce Wilson, or do I have to quit?
Go ahead with that one. I'd like to hear
I got you, and I got Dan, and I got me. What are we doing?
You can make this version.
Okay, so we'll get quickly to Bruce. And, you know, Bruce is a funny guy because he's a contradiction in terms. He puts on Facebook all these tools on the farm that he grew up in Anoka, or St. Francis. But yet, he's got this incredible gift for music. But, I mean, these tools he puts on, and they're saved generation after generation after generation. He's got tools that they work on cars and they're made out of stone. And they're just, they saved everything. And I guess he's a really meticulous carpenter. But the thing I was going to do is I was going to say that he's a bit overpaid. Because I was going to lead you in the doxology, and I was just going to kind of let you guys sing and play with it. Wash my hands and sing along. But Braden stole that from us. But that does bring me to Braden, because you know, in a previous life he was a critic. And you have to say about critics. Those that can do and those that can become critics. And he never gets out of that mode with me. Bob, your clothes look like a gunny sack today. Thanks, critic. Who cut your hair? My wife. Did you do it with a weed whacker? It's just, he never gets out of that mood. But I like kind of kid around with him, because he's director of worship arts. And I said, I introduced him as, Greg's in charge of the dark arts. And he always corrects me. He goes, it's worship arts. Well, thank you, Harry Potter. He doesn't appreciate it, though. And I'm sure if he was doing what he wants to do, he'd come up and Will Smith me right now. Yes, that is a verb now. But anyway, Graydon does an incredible interview. He really does. And what I've learned about Graydon, or every good interviewer, he has a wife that writes the questions. Graydon writes to an artist, so you've been in art, what's up with that? Graydon writes for him, you've had an incredible career in your art and many well-known pieces. Where does this wellspring come from? That's the kind of questions that Graydon asks. But she's right. Don't tell anybody. Pastor Dan. So on Saturday morning, and Dan comes in, and I was in here working on some stuff, and he's got these, blue jeans and stuff on. I'm used to seeing him on Sundays when he's dressed nice, and he's got his hat on and stuff. And I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I just got back. I drove a school bus this morning." And I said, "Where?" And he said, "Track meet." I said, "I didn't know you drove a school bus." He said, "Yeah." Anyway, so I go downstairs and he's up here, and he's tuning the piano over there. And I didn't know that at the time. And I'm down there, and I hear this ding, 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 the same note continuously. And I'm thinking, he must have quit lessons at 2. And then it goes ding, ding, ding. So I hear what I'm doing. And he's got the thing swing open. He says, I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm tuning the piano." I was just like, "I didn't know you did that." He's like, "Yeah, I do a lot of things." So he gives me his business card. And we're reading it, and it's like, holy cow. So pastor, bus driver, piano tuner, bootlegger, he goes, yeah, I like to go around beer. I said, it's only bootlegging if you sell it. Well, we pull up on the alley on Friday night and honk twice. So I said, what do you got? And he said, well, this weekend it's ode to a rusty pipe. I said, okay. A shoe cobbler. I said, what? He goes, yeah, first time I nailed a guy's shoe to the floor, but private chef. I said, private chef. He said, well, I've cooked in some of the greatest houses in town here. Never twice. Usually beanie weenies. Dice and card inspector. And I said, what? And he goes, yeah, you just go to the casinos and you look at the dice and the cards and make sure they're not cheating on those. And I said, what do you do with the dice that cheat, that are cheaters? Because I put them in my pocket. I lost a lot of money to him. Professional mourner. He's paid to go to funerals. Dog food tester. I said, how's that work? And he says, you put it in a bowl just like Cheerios. And you taste it. I said, you eat the whole bowl? He said, yeah, it's part of the job. Odor judge. I said, what? Yeah, just, finish their people's odor best and see if the odor smells nice. Then now and then they slip in some that don't have any odor. Scuba diving pizza delivery man. I said, what's that about? He goes, I'm very busy around Lake Minnetonka. And then he told me about snake milker. Snake milker, what do you do that? And he said, well, you get the venom out. I said, how's that working? He's got really small udders. And then the last one was a chicken sexer. So I said, you determine the sex of the little chicken. He says, yeah. So how do you do that? Well, the women go, cheep, cheep, and then go, choop, choop. Which last leads me to Lee. Lee is our interim pastor, and he's in the transition now that goes from retired pastor to a new pastor. He fills that void and is there to sort of make sure that the place is in shape when they get there. And that means he's got to be a rule follower. And he's a stickler for the rules. First thing he asked me to do is, could you make me some crosses for Lent? I said, sure. I made 50 of them. I bring them into his office. And he's looking out and he says, something's wrong. And he takes out a ruler and he measures. And one side is a 16th longer than the other side. And he said, could you take this back and just trim a little bit? I said, fine. So I bring it back. And he rubs them and he goes, the side that you just cut is a little splintery. Fine. I take it back and I sand it in. Now I bring it back. And he goes, there's extra glue around the base. So I take it back home and I scrape the extra glue off. I bring them back. He goes, they look really better stained. I about blew my stack. And then he said, no, I like them. I like them. Just like that. He's a guy, he gives a great sermon, but you gotta watch yourself. I came out of church and I said, great sermon. He goes, how would you know? And I said, what do you mean? He said, you were sleeping. And I said, I was meditating. And he goes, no, you were sleeping. And I said, elucidate. And he said, you were snoring. I could hear you all the way in the pulpit. I said, have you ever heard Gregorian chants? He wasn't buying it. But, you know what? We're just glad he's here. He does a great job. And so does our whole staff. And if you ever get the chance, you just don't do it on a normal basis. But pat them on the back, shake their hand, just thank them. Because they do help make this church a church. Thank you.
Where did you come from?
I know, I tried to move on to the adult table, but they kicked me out. I guess I need a few more years. I have heard that my fake ID is pretty passable. They gave it to me the DMV. Crazy. Well, I think that everyone, the plates are looking a little empty, glasses are looking a little empty, so we are actually going to split up our comedy sets, and we are going to have Frank do his comedy set the next beginning of the next act, and we're going to give you all 15 minutes to use the restroom. For those that have been here before, it is right outside these doors. Get some more wine. If you need more tickets for wine, you can get those at the ticket table. We have plenty of dessert, and most importantly, go check on your bids. See how they're doing. Let's get this action rolling. And we also have this beautiful new deck outside, and the sun is just setting. So if you want to go into that room, you go out that door, you can enjoy the beautiful view of Diamond Lake as the sun is setting. And we'll get started in about 15 minutes with our second act. But without further ado, I would like to introduce our second half of our show tonight, kicking it off with another comedy sketch, this time from our very own Frankie Anderson. Let's give a round of applause.
I was so looking forward to following Bob. In which case my skit would have seemed like 20 seconds. Okay, a lot of you know me, Frank Anderson. I do a lot of stuff around here, so you probably think I'm a pretty good Christian. I'm not. I'm not. I've done a lot of really bad things. Sin and corruption are my middle names. I have two middle names. I've done terrible things. When I was in the second grade, I stole $2 from my brother and went out with some friends and bought firecrackers. Never got caught. Then later on in New York, I lied to a casting director about an audition I did and told him I ended up getting a better part. And nobody ever knew anything about it, and I thought, this is ambition right here. But anyway, I've got to change all that. I've got to kick the devil out of my life, and I'm going to do that on stage right now. I have the devil in this bag. This is a metaphoric devil. And I have a very special metaphoric devil handling tong for this. And here it is. And here comes the devil. What does that say? Devil. You got the devil here. Now, how am I going to do this? I can launch it out this way. Can we move this, get rid of this part?
Go on the other side.
No. We're going to launch it right over here. Kick the devil. Now, any of you guys bring like a hockey mask? Of course, you did. Roger? Good. Well, you might need one because this could be a little dangerous. No hockey mask over there. Okay, then. We're going to move it back over here and maybe just right here. This ought to be good right here, I think. And if you have any catcher's masks, something like that, if you brought one of those, you could put that on now. This could be, okay, here we go. You see how far I'm going to get here. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Ready.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
That's it?
Wow, I'm impressed. You've got a future in soccer or something like that, or maybe a punter. Pretty impressive sports skills. You can see I'm definitely a sports aficionado. I would know. So next up, we are switching over to a musical act by two of our resident musicians here at Diamond Lake, which makes it even more special. We have our very own Chuck Linderkamp and Kevin Hobbs playing a beautiful piece on Forme de Habanera by Ravel.
All this comedy, I don't know, is this on? All this comedy makes me want to tell a joke. The only ones I know are like musician jokes.
like to have so many wonderful musicians in the house and so many talented people that grace us with their gifts every single day.